Look, even if Trump didn't do anything illegal, the reality is that he is the one secreting all of these files, in effect, protecting all of these people who may very well have done something illegal. And that's just as bad in my book, whether you are the one committing these crimes or whether you're the one protecting these people who are committing these crimes. And
that's a good point to make. Brian Tyler Cohen makes an absolutely good point here. I did watch this clip already, and because I just did like skim through it. And I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, when you have to always be on side, then you're not gonna answer to the people, and that's just really what it is. Because I do like Michael Knowles' debate style, but just saying what the stuff he said, it just shows you that it's just all about left, right, left, right, left, right. So I'm gonna take a look at this. Brian Tyler Cohen is going to eviscerate Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire on Piers Morgan's show. Because all of this talk about, first off, making this whole thing about Trump is already everybody's first mistake. It's about giving transparency to the people. But anyway, we're going to watch Brian Tyler Cohen take on Michael Knowles' argument. And I just can't wait for you guys to hear Michael Knowles' argument. It's pretty interesting. Let's get right into it.
The reality is that Donald Trump had the ability via Pam Bondi, because as we all know, she is an appendage of him, to be able to release these files months ago. And in fact, this wouldn't have been surprising, considering this administration is filled with people who stake their entire identities, who predicated their entire brands on this idea that they were going to release the Epstein files on day one. So it's no surprise when you staff your administration with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Alina Habba, all of these people who had been beating this drum about releasing these Epstein files, suddenly they hide them. So if somebody did do something illegal and you have somebody who's protecting those people, in my book, that is just as bad. And I want to clarify a point that I heard.
Just before he clarifies that point, that is true. One thing I will give him is that he didn't stay stuck on, it's Trump in the files messing with girls. Okay, I can already tell you right now, no matter how I feel about this administration, I have to keep it real, that he's not in there doing stuff like that, okay? No. But protecting the people who are in there and not letting us know who are these guilty people who are they're probably still making decisions for us right now under duress of blackmail or who knows what, right? That's a big enough problem on its own. Let's not lose sight of that. By the way, guys, if you do like this clip, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and a notification bell. Thank you to everybody who's been watching this channel. Thank you so much. All right, let's go.
Previously on this panel, this idea that if there was something bad in the Epstein files, that the Biden administration would have just released it. First of all, the Ghislaine Maxwell prosecution was going until 2022, and then her appeal was going until 2025. And in a world prior to this one, where the DOJ is completely politicized and weaponized, they're not going to release information on ongoing prosecutions. But that notwithstanding, look, I do believe that this stuff should have been released, and that falls squarely in the lap of one person, and that's Merrick Garland. And if you're looking for somebody to defend Merrick Garland and his judicious nature and his overly cautious nature, it's not going to be me. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be anyone, because this guy was focused not on achieving justice without fear or favor. This guy was focused on preventing the optics of politicization. This was as weak and meek an attorney general as I think we've ever had. So I also think that Merrick Garland should have released this stuff sooner. But look, in a previous world where the separation of church and state between the White House and the DOJ actually mattered, the same world that Republicans used to occupy when they clutched their pearls about Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, there wouldn't be a world where Joe Biden can mandate that Merrick Garland release these files. But we obviously don't live in that world anymore.
Okay, so before Piers goes on to Michael, I'm sorry, I have to say it. Michael Knowles' face is freaking me out in this video. Like, I don't understand. Like, he has this, like, really, I don't know, it's almost like evil. What is going on? Y'all see it too? This guy is a tool. Brandon Tatum is such a tool. He is pointless, waste of time. Yes, he is. I don't know why he's there with his hoodie. Anyway, let's go back to the clip.
Michael Knowles, if I was advising Donald Trump here, I would just say, you know what, you should just get ahead of all this, order all the files to be released, unredacted, just get it all out there, because it's all going to come out now. However it happens, it's all going to come out. Yes, there's a process now where the House will vote on it. It's likely to vote in favor of releasing it. It goes to the Senate. There'll be enormous pressure on the Senate to authorize the release. And then there may be some stuff that's held back because they'll say, well, we're investigating. But ultimately, I don't think the American public are now going to be appeased until they know that every spit and cough and dotted I is out there. What do you think?
This is what it really comes down to, Piers. You know, there have been lots of interesting things said on this panel. I'm very curious as to what the Epstein infrastructure represented. There have been many suggestions over the years, reportedly from Alex Acosta, the former U.S. attorney who was Trump's labor nominee when he apparently suggested that Epstein belonged to intelligence, the potential connections to Israel, the connection to the UK, obviously with Prince Andrew, whatever. You know, obviously, it's extremely interesting. I'd like to know more about it. We probably never will know much more about it, but I'm interested in it. Obviously, we want justice for the victims. Obviously, we want bad guys to be held to account. All of that is true, but it's simpler. The reason that President Trump initially in 2015 called for scrutiny into Epstein is because he doesn't have anything serious to hide. Yes, I'm sure he turns up in the files. Yes, I'm sure there's some embarrassing stuff in there, but he's got nothing serious to hide. I've got that from pretty highly placed liberal sources too, as you've mentioned as well, Piers. Then the reason he flipped on it is because he realized rightly that focusing on the Epstein files doesn't really get him anything politically. It's just kind of a distraction from the topics he wants to be talking about, which are crime in Democrat cities and immigration and the economy or whatever else. So I think it was a basic political calculation to say, if we're talking about Epstein, it doesn't really help us. Now, for that very same reason, I think the White House just miscalculated. They thought that not talking about Epstein was going to make the issue go away so they could focus on more important things. Well, actually, it just put even more focus on the Epstein files. So now Trump comes out, he says, all right, whatever, I'm going to lose this vote. The party is in rebellion. Okay, fine, release the files. But I think it's much more practical than what everyone's suggesting.
Well, the only thing I would say about that, your timeline, I'm not saying you're wrong, but if you...
So, all right, because... he's going to ask him about, Trump should have already, they should have gotten in front of this. It's almost like he reiterates the same question again. So I'm going to skip ahead to because then his commercial comes on, his ad read.
It is all a bit weird, of course, but I think that actually kind of proves the more basic political point, which is that releasing the Epstein files was a very good line during the campaign, and I think people cared about it. Don't forget, it was the conservatives back in 2014, 2015 who were calling attention to Epstein. That was initially considered a Democrat scandal. But then, as you see, even just from Elon's tweet, the very fact that Trump appears in the files, because he's known Epstein for a very long time, the very fact of that became a major distraction. It was politically damaging to the White House. And then you just got to think at a basic political calculation, what's the best that comes out of releasing the files? Is it a real knockdown for the Democrats? Is there really going to be justice? Some of what's in the files is actually going to be retracted. Like you saw Virginia Giuffre retract an accusation against Alan Dershowitz and come out and say that she never saw Trump do anything improper. So it's this muddy, weird, ugly event. Even the real stuff with Epstein, the potential connections to intelligence or whatever, it's just so, I don't know, murky and obscure. I don't think there's a major political win. And now I think there pretty clearly is.
So there's no political win, guys. Okay, this is what we just heard now. Because there's no political win, we don't need to worry about who might have been sleeping with kids, allegedly, okay? Who's blackmailed, who's probably gotten us involved with certain kind of wars or something, or, skirmishes based on blackmail. Forget the victims. We're not even going to talk about that, right? But we don't need to know how much looms above the head of our elected officials when it comes to blackmail and making decisions, because there's no political win in doing that. Oh, God. I mean, do I need to say anything else? Do I really? I don't think you guys see it. And then these people peddle it to you. The thing is, I expect the government to think like that. I don't expect people to peddle it to you and say that that's okay. What kind of an argument is this? Forget the American people. This is not a political win for Trump, so we're just not going to do it. And that's okay. And this is what I voted for? I mean, I didn't, but because, I voted for this. I see that all over Twitter all the time. I didn't vote for this. I mean, I didn't vote, but this is what y'all vote. insane. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.